Peace, my family, and brought that to all. Those coming out of that good cocoon for the first time, welcome. This your girl, the butterfly. We about to take off. Oh yes, let's fly. Just want to send you all the good healing energy your way. Peace, love, happiness, harmony, and abundance. Hope you guys are out there keeping your mind right. Oh yes, in that good mind. How y'all feeling? Hope you guys most definitely move on up in your higher nature family, and most definitely cleansing, because if you don't know, now you know. Oh yes, we must cleanse. Cleansing that lower nature, those lower frequency energies, family. Alright, so I came in here today to read. This is the Breaking of the Spell, the Pamphlet of Peace by Master Teacher Dr. Malachi Z. L. This right here will certainly help you on this good journey with having the right knowledge yourself. You begin to feed your soul and know more about the world around you and what has happened, right, in the past, which is very important because it's going to align you with what's happening right now in the present moment. Because it's all about learning about, the past to see where you're going toward the, present moment in the future, right? So, yeah, pretty much. All right, so let's get to it. Question: why were there 4 similar books about the same story at the beginning of the New Testament instead of 1? Question. This is our Master Teacher Dr. Malachi Z. answer. It says because in reorganizing Christianity, right, after the so-called death of the 3 Jesuses, the Canaanites had no proof of their story, particularly the part of pertaining to the Immaculate Conception. In John 7:42, the word seed in Greek is sperma or sperma, sperm, right? Sperma, which comes from a man, and John 7:42. Okay, and it reads, do not have the scripture say that the Messiah will come out from the sperm of David and from the village of Bethlehem where David was. And it goes on to say, right, it says, how did Mary get pregnant? Question. They are also had no proof of the resurrection of Jesus. The reorganizers of Christianity could not bring out the parts about the Immaculate Conception and the resurrection until scores of years after the so-called death of Jesus, because the peoples living in his time and for years after knew better, right? Therefore, they could not publish with success these additions to the story about Jesus until the people who knew better had died out and certain parts of the true story had been concealed. It was not until around 325 AD, the Council of Nicaea, that reorganized Christianity really began to flourish in the form that you know it today. Because the new concepts called Immaculate Conception and Resurrection had been added up by that time, okay? And all 3 Jesuses became one person in 3, called the Trinity. The earlier forms of Christianity, such as the beginning of the book of John, did not have the latter ideas called the Immaculate Conception and resurrection in a sense that it is taught in the West. However, originally Christianity did start with the Osiris and Set legend, which is based on the true story about Abel and Cain. Christianity before that, based on the 3 Jesuses 2,000 years ago, broke out around 500 or 600 BC, not 4, but 500 or 600 BC, when the Phoenicians' power began to dwindle, and the Canaanites' cursed albino seed power began to increase. Okay? It goes on to say, these earlier forms of Christianity started with Greek philosophies such as, Socrates, Plato, Aristotle, etc., who received their knowledge from the Egyptian mystery schools, or the Egyptian mystery system that was headed by Egyptian Kohen priests, right? Prophets and other mystic men. Of course, the first and earliest form of Christianity started with Cain. The beginning of the loss of Egyptian power, freedom, and independence was when the Egyptians let the Greeks and others into their mystery system, from which they obtained vast knowledge and secrets and activating names of gods and goddesses. The Egyptians had what was called the mysteries and also greater mysteries. The Phoenicians, latter-day Egyptians, took the Canaanites into their confidence, and that was the beginning of the end of Egyptian power and rule. Today, they are called the persecutions, the Nasons, the Ashtars, etc. Alexander the Great, the Greek, was a member of the Egyptian mystery system, and by the time he came on the scene around 333 BC, the way was clear for just about anything the Canaanites wanted to put forth. And this is why Alexander the Great was able to march unopposed into Egypt, Eastern and Northern Africa, and elsewhere. Although Alexander had sworn his allegiance and to the goals of the Egyptian mystery system, of which he was a member, he was also able to be a member of a vast Canaanite spy system of the Canaanites' cursed albino seed, whose aim was to deceive and deprive the Phoenicians of their ruling power. Okay? And independence. Today they're called the CIA and the KGB, etc. The first member of the spy ring to join the mystery system was the first Canaanite accepted into the mystery system, because that is the nature of the Caucasian, to deceive and spy on the darker people. The Caucasian spy ring was the key that opened and cleared the way for Alexander's march. Once the Canaanites were attempted into the mystery schools of Egypt, of course, the power they received would be used for negative purposes, or would turn negative like the Canaanites were. And that negative power was enough to make the spy system successful by the help of the Caucasian woman. And some of the Nubian Phoenicians themselves, who were spellbound by the evil one, making them black devils, helped them to destroy their own. Okay? Alexander the Greek was falsely built up as a great conqueror, but he was a fake who the Caucasian spy system chose to take bows for the work the spy system had done. However, most Greek philosophers and members of the spy system, who were also members of the mystery system, met with ill fate for their deceit and broken vows to the laws of the mysteries. The philosophy they taught was from darker people and was foreign to their people. Okay? And their people were afraid of it. At first, the teachers of the new philosophy, who were not put to death, died in shame and disgrace, including Alexander, who died of drunkenness. At the early age of 32, Alexander, the Christian schools in Egypt that started around 300 BC and were named in honor of Alexander the Great, produced such early Christians and Reformed Jews as the Talmudists and the Nicaeans and the Zealots and others who lasted until the advent of Jesus, son of Mary, and for a time after. But the Essenes, who were also called Zealots, and some others became a part of Jesus, son of Mary followers, right? It goes on to say, subsequently, the three Gospels, the first three books at the beginning of the New Testament, had no factual backing with the Immaculate Conception and the resurrection concepts were organized and became doctrine prior to the Council of Nicaea 325 AD, and therefore the organizers at the council decided to publish three similar books and proclaimed that their three eyewitnesses, Matthew, written in 51 AD, Mark, written in 60 through 65 AD in Rome, Luke, written in year 56 to 58 AD, and the book of John was written to clear up this mess in the year 98 AD, who had no contact with each other, right? Wrote their books in 4 different places at different times. And these, plus the similarities among the 4 books, were supposed to prove the Gospels. But that is no proof, because there would have to be further proof of the 4 eyewitnesses who had no contact with each other and who wrote their books in different places at different times, and therefore 3 of the books were produced from the original one, and the book of John of the 4 or all 4 from the 5th book, the Holy Tablets. So it's very easy to make all of their prophecies about your Jesus look true. You just copied them from the Holy Tablets, right? Saying, look, there it is. Then you have the book of Bartimaeus, which most of the public had never seen, right? It tells that the real Jesus was not crucified, right, on any cross, okay? In other words, you should find, and you could be told anything, right? And after those who knew the true story died out or were put to death, the Caucasian title of the Bible is Holy Bible, which is a copy of the fabricated Babylonian text, as previously stated. But the universal title of the Bible is the Book of the Dead, right? Because it is from the dead and is about the dead and is for the dead. This physical and mental dead. This is why we see the same symbol on the church house of the mentally dead, or the mental dead that you see in the cemeteries, the place of physical death, right? And the symbol which referred to, the cross, the sign of the dead, the physical and mental. The cross is a word that refers to the crescent, symbolic of Enki, who ruled the earth before his brother Enlil was sent by their father Anu to take over the rulership, okay? And the crescent refers to the moon, a dead universal body which supports and multiplies the physical and mentally dead and their forces on planet Earth. Egyptians book of the forces, or book of the pyramids, right? Book of the pyramids, the Sumerians, and the Book of the Dead, the Bible, were magnified, right, by Tahuti, sometimes called Thro or Hermes, and also known as Anubis, the jackal dog of the dead. Read dog backwards, and you will get God. And dyslexia, you will get God. The only way such false concepts as Immaculate Conception, physical resurrection of their Jesus, and ascension were able to take roots and grow in the first place is because it was the time and season for such fabrications, okay? There was no such thing as Immaculate Conception as you know it. That is spookism, okay? It was an experiment, okay, performed by the Elohim, who were scientists, okay? They were scientists. This is big. They were scientists that procreated beings on the mothership, okay? This is what happened, all right? Through, the invertebral, and which in your terms would be considered, the test tube babies, right? So this kills the spookism theory, right? Refer to Mission Earth Scroll. Now, he says refer to the Mission Earth Scroll, the Pamphlet of Peace. If you want to get that scroll, check it out. It's on the channel too as well. Just let me know. I'd be happy to give you what you need. Alright? Let's go on. Christianity as you know it today took root at the Council of Nicaea, 325 AD, and other councils such then, including the Council of Chalcedon, and that was in 451 AD. And Chalcedon is the fourth council, right? And the Council of Ilkhamokal is the council of the church authorities accepted by the church as official, the councils of Nicaea. And however, though, the Protestants came later, and that shall be discussed in the next questions, okay? But it just goes on to say the word gospel, or ghost spell, or spell of ghost, meaning the spell of God. Ghost works by spell or fascination, and it is therefore spellbounding, okay? And non-ether works by reason through knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. What is presented in the booklet called Right Knowledge discloses parts of the true history of the Bible and little known or unknown to the Wulier people. Disclosure of the true history of the Bible is knowledge. And that knowledge helps to destroy the ignorance, okay, of the oppressed, and helps to open the escape routes to liberty, equality, by the mental processes and progress. All right, so that was the end of his answer. Okay, now if you are interested in this, right, because it's all about learning more about the things that the Most High wanted you to know, right, so you can, clear the smoke, right? This is for you. It's called Breaking the Spell, and it's by our master teacher, Dr. Malachi G. L. It's gonna get you what you need, okay? And once you begin to do so and you feed your soul what, you may have questioned your whole life what really happened, right? Other than hearing stories about it, now you got the facts, right? It can better help you to understand what we're facing right now, okay? So, whether you realize it or not, it's happening right now. Alright? So, I'm going to leave it at that though. Again, my family, this is for you to know for yourselves, right? So, it's very important that you begin to do a self-study so you can learn and grow and elevate your mind and expand it, right? And raise your consciousness. It's going to be needed. Alright? So, again, I'm going to leave it at that. Alright, again, my family, I want y'all all to know that you are loved so much beyond this world. Oh, yes, you are. And in it, begin to spread that love, family, one to another. Be the peace that you seek. Release our master teacher, Dr. Malachi Z. L. family. Peace, shalom, Ashuk, divine love, family, and Wadu, because it is all golden. You see, the golden scarf is all.